Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. I'm a former brick and mortar store owner turned retail expert who is passionate about entrepreneurship and has experienced the highs and lows of running a retail business. Whether you're a seasoned retail veteran or an aspiring store owner, consider me your guide on this store owning journey. If you're looking to run a profitable and growing business that doesn't drain you, follow my 6 stages of shopkeeping and subscribe to this show. Join me for a journey of continuous learning where protecting your mind, maximizing profit, and determining your own schedule are a priority. Get ready to work smarter, profit more, and grow your retail business. Welcome to episode 239 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. In case you missed last week's episode, Ceri, a member of Master Shopkeepers, interviewed me for this podcast, and that's how we're kicking off 2025. Last week was part 1, and now we're back with part 2 of the interview. Before we get started on part 2, I want to answer 2 more questions that Ceri had for me post-interview. She sent these to me in an email. Number 1, what's something you thought you weren't any good at professionally that has turned out to either be no big deal or you found ways to work around it? This one is actually really timely for me because I recently had a massive, I was going to say big, but it's actually massive, a massive aha moment around this. For pretty much my whole entire life, I have held on to the thought that I wasn't smart or smart enough, whatever that means. I have spent the past couple years working with my own coach trying to identify where this thought came from, like who or what to blame for me thinking that I wasn't smart. But the truth is, I haven't been able to associate it with anything that anyone ever said or did to me in the past. In fact, the opposite is true. I tend to have people in my life who do tell me that I'm smart, and this has been the case all along. And I'm so grateful for all of them, for everyone who has ever told me that. And in fact, I recently had a brand photo shoot and I was on a phone call with my brand photographer and kind of told her some of the plans that I have coming up and why I wanted some of the shots that I wanted in this brand photo shoot. And she said to me, she's like, Kathy, you're so smart. And I chuckled because of this recent realization. For the sake of time, I won't go into detail about how I got to my aha moment, but essentially, I realized that I had a lot of inner dialogue about struggling with studying and staying focused. There's a lot to unpack there, but just know that that's what was hard. And it's most likely because I have, I'm guessing, 2 learning disabilities. They are not diagnosed, but when you know, you know. So when I became a full-time entrepreneur, I realized that I needed to get really good at staying focused and planning ahead. I was struggling with those things. So over the course of the past 5-6 years in particular, I have taught myself how to do this, how to study easier, how to stay focused in ways that serve my brain best. That's probably why you've heard so many podcast episodes about time management and about planning and about the Savvy Shopkeeper digital planner and all the content that I share leading up to that. It's because I've learned that all of us think differently. Our brains work differently, and we have to find the tools and the things that serve us best. So to answer Ceri's question, I found lots of workarounds for what was hard for me. Again, studying and staying focused. And I'm currently working on thoughts that nurture that I am smart. So between the workarounds and embracing my own version of smart, instead of thinking that I have to be smart like the way other people are smart. So this new thought about being smart, even with my challenges, it feels incredibly empowering. It has been such a weight lifted from my shoulders. So it's just a perfect timing for that question, Ceri. Number 2, what's something you've told yourself over the years that has served you well? Something you were on the right track with before you purposely worked on mindset and self-improvement. So I think I'd Oh gosh, if I have to unpack this, if the thought that wasn't serving me was I'm not smart, the one that has served me well is that I can boss up. I can boss up whenever I want. Now, sometimes it takes me longer than other times, but I want to give a shout out to my friend Laura for pointing this out to me. She said, "You've never been afraid to do the hard thing, or maybe you've been afraid, but you've done it anyway." And I can't disagree with her. If other people are zigging, I will zag. And I just do it, even if it's uncomfortable. Now, like I mentioned, I don't always boss up quickly, but eventually I get there. So thanks, Ceri, for those extra questions. I do think it was important for me to answer those too. And it is time for you to hear part 2 of my interview. A big, big thank you to Ceri for not only taking the time to do this interview, but for being so incredibly thoughtful about it. And I want to share something that Ceri said with me in one of the emails when we were going back and forth after the episode. She said, "I appreciate you so, so much. And I'm grateful for both you and the MSK community for the support and care and encouragement that's always at my fingertips. It makes the difference between just running a retail store and loving my retail store." And I love that she said that. If you listen to my interview with Ceri, when I interviewed her on the podcast, you'll hear me mention how she's just incredible with words. And that one struck me. I appreciate you, Ceri. I really do. Thank you for doing this. So here's part 2 of my interview.
Do you find that at any point in your journey, have you felt that your personal worth and your business performance have gotten tied up together in your head? Is that something that you've had to work through at all?
I'm sure it did early on, like especially when you start as an entrepreneur, you put so much effort into that journey, into that part of the journey, like especially when you're first opening a store and you think that that whole entire store defines you and then you realize, wait a minute, it's just a part of me. It doesn't define me. So I'm sure at the beginning I did, but over time, I think it's part of a natural process of maturing as a business owner that you realize it isn't all or nothing. It's part of you, but not all of you. I have to circle back to Mamita in this case. I've learned a lot in coaching other people. It's very insightful because I get to see what's happening in their brains. And I just want to clarify, I'm not a therapist. I don't work on trauma. I work on I work with people so that they can unpack what is it that they want to do in the present and who is it that they want to become in the future. It's not past focused, if that makes sense. So, but I've learned a lot in coaching clients or just in seeing people and master shopkeepers and seeing their journeys. And I just have to say that my personal worth has never been a big issue for me. And I think that comes from the way Mamita raised me. She instilled in me that I was valuable no matter what. You know, if anything, I love that she's said for a long time, like, you're going to do big things, or just valuing me as a daughter and as a human being. So, yes, we were really poor and we suffered and struggled a lot. And I struggled a lot. You know, when I go back to those high school days, taking a bus and being on public transportation, this has come up recently, spending 90 minutes on the bus each way, dealing with some not so pleasant situations. I wouldn't feel my feet and hands in blizzards walking from the bus stop to home. So experiencing all of that was incredibly hard, but knowing that I was valued just as a human being, for me, that made me never question my personal value. But when I work with some one-on-one clients, and I've worked with people in the past, I've seen them raised in different situations by parents that I'm sure who thought they were doing their best, but some of the situations they were in growing up have them truly believing that they aren't worth or valued for anything. And that takes time to unpack if that's somebody who's listening. So I don't have that perspective because I think I was incredibly lucky. And I say this all the time, like maybe we didn't have anything, but we had so much love. and a woman who had, my mom that raised me had so much integrity. And I think that's why integrity is also really important to me.
Thank you for sharing all of that. That's, I think, a helpful perspective. I'm curious, when did you know that you had something that was really special and that you had captured something kind of magical with this Savvy Shopkeeper community? So, with the blog, with the podcast, with Master Shopkeepers, the group, when did you know that this was really, really special and that this was worth putting everything into?
Hands down, the most defining moment for me was the first retreat. At the end of that retreat, I was blown away at how everyone that left that retreat, how they felt. The connections, the community, the love, some of the transformations. And the interesting thing is, when I started this journey, I never thought that I would be a community builder or a community leader. That's not the path I thought I was taking. And it was in that moment that it hit me, like, that's what you're doing, Kathy. This is what you've built. And there's so much more. Now, I appreciate the content and the metrics and the data. I say it all the time, but that there's so much more to this and to all of us running our businesses and to all of us connecting to learn. It's about the relationships and about the community. So I would say that was definitely the defining moment. And then I learned from that point that that's what I really wanted to nurture and do more of.
That's beautiful. So recently you shared that you had the phrase, I can do hard things, hanging up in your office. Is it still hanging up or did you take it down? It's down?
No, I took it down. And I think that
Okay.
was in getting coached and constantly feeling uncomfortable, like as I saw myself growing and my business growing. And I think this is a really important lesson to share for anyone listening, anyone who's an entrepreneur. I now know that I will, as long as I want to grow both or all things personally and professionally, as long as I want to grow, I am going to be uncomfortable. I am going to constantly feel discomfort. So it was me building the muscle of I'm uncomfortable and that's okay. I can do hard things. That's where that came from.
So I heard that you have a new mantra that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Will you explain that?
I have to credit Neil with that one. So many people listening are going to find this relatable especially when you're in those first few years of opening your store or starting any business, you are go, 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 go. And you'll find moments of burnout. You'll find moments where you're just like, I just need to slow down, but then you pick it back up. And I have a deep appreciation for hustle. I think hustle is part of what got me here. But I'm kind of at a place now that I think it's more than okay for me to stop hustling. And I will have moments of hustling in the future because I do have big goals. But I think I'm at a place in time where it's okay that I slow down to do some of the big projects that I really want to work on and that the other things will come in due time. So now I'm at a place where I just kind of have to slow my brain down and see that actually sometimes doing things slowly is can be effective too. I think there's a time for both, the hustle and the slowing down. And I'm at a place where I'm trying to retrain my brain to say you don't have to hustle your whole entire entrepreneurial journey, and that's okay.
I think that's a huge help for all of us to hear that success is not measured at all by how fast you're getting things accomplished or how quickly you're arriving at those various goals. So I think that's an incredibly helpful perspective. Thank you. I have a couple little rapid fire questions for you. I want to know, when do you get angry business related. You don't have to delve into anything that's going on at home. When do you get angry? What is it over? What do you do with it when you feel that anger rising up in you? Yeah, like we want to know what pushes Kathy Cruz's buttons.
This is not a rapid fire question. I have so much
Oh,
to
okay.
say on this.
We've got all the time in the world then.
Oh man. Okay. So first, Andy's probably relieved when you eliminated home. Yeah, because he's probably going to listen to this episode and he's probably thinking, oh, good. We're not talking personal. So I have a story to share on this first, and then make sure that I circle back to current time. So when I think about anger, I always go back. I was a rookie on the police department and I was working with a field training officer. I was probably past, we called it FTO time. I was probably past FTO time, but I was still really young on the job. And I was working with a male partner who I really respected. Everyone respected him. And we got called to a scene for a fight, a big group fighting. And the anger from the group of young women fighting, it was like I ran with that and I became angry and we left the scene. I probably didn't help the situation. In fact, I'm just going to own it. I did not help the situation. My partner, on the other hand, very calm, collected. Luckily, he was there and handled the situation extremely well. And I'll never forget, I got in the car and he called me out on it. And I have so much respect for him that he did that. He didn't do it in a condescending or rude way. He actually did it in a way that I was able to pause and step back and see my own behavior. And that was a big aha moment for me when I realized I can choose how I react. And if I'm going to do this career, I'm going to wipe myself out if I react like this every single time. Like I have to learn how to regulate my emotions. Now, am I great at it all the time? No, because Mamita jokes when someone makes me really angry or when I go into protect mode, I can get really scary, even at 5'4" or 5'5" or however tall I am. I'm not that tall. She says, oh boy. That's what she says. Oh boy. So I had to learn how to do that. And again, I'm not perfect at it. I would say one thing that probably makes me angry is when people aren't in integrity and don't follow through with their agreement. That one I really struggle with because I think we're all business owners. And if we made an agreement, I do everything I possibly can to follow through with that agreement. So that's probably one that angers me, but I don't even know if it's like anger to the point that, I'm raging or anything like that. It's certainly not that level, but I would say that frustrates me. And, stealing, right? Like we talk a lot about that in Master Shopkeepers when another business owner, quote unquote, steals your idea. I mean, I've had a couple of situations. I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, someone's using your content to teach other store owners. Now, of course, I investigated. I didn't even have to have Kate investigate. Just shout out Kate, our group facilitator. I did a little, instead of immediately going to really anger mode, I paused, I researched. I didn't find anything that was really alarming to me. And I thought, okay, if this person used one of my tools, well, then I can only hope that it helped other store owners. Now, if I found evidence, if I found something that I needed to act on, of course, I would, work with an attorney and do what I needed to do. Luckily, I haven't been there, but that upsets me too. I put a lot of time and effort into this. Like you all know that in Master Shopkeepers, it's constant. Even though I have what I feel is a nice balance at home, I put countless hours into this and my brain power into this. So for somebody to steal anything that I've created or really worked on over these past 8 years, yeah, that upsets me.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I wondered if you get frustrated at different times when other people, this may just be me who gets frustrated over this, so I'm aware of that. But I wonder, do you get frustrated when you've come to a place that you've taught something maybe over and over, or you've shared over and over, and it feels like people just still are not ready to hear that particular message or to act on it or any of that? How is that something that makes you frustrated, or does it just motivate you to keep after this and to keep sharing the information? What's your response like?
Maybe all of the above. It's definitely motivating. And that's one big thing that I've learned. And I joke about this in Master Shopkeepers a lot. And I'm probably at a point where I can just stop saying it. But I've learned that being a broken record is one of the best gifts that I can give, especially to people in Master Shopkeepers or who listen to the podcast, because we're not all willing and ready to receive at certain times. If you're in the middle of a personal issue at home or a catastrophe at your store or a health issue, we don't want to receive anything. Like we're just kind of doing the bare minimum. And we all have seasons in life and in business. So I've learned that the more I repeat myself, the better. And I love when people tell me, and I've had Master Shopkeepers members tell me, like, listen, Kathy, you've told this to me, or you've said this at 6 different times in 6 different ways. And it wasn't until the seventh time that it actually resonated. That was a big aha moment for me where I realized, Kathy, stop beating yourself up for saying and sharing the same metric 1,000 times. No, you keep sharing it, you keep saying it, because you never know when it's going to land, and it's okay. And if somebody has heard me say it over and over again, it's okay. I can't manage their mind around that. But I think for me, it's about serving. And if serving means repetition, then I'm just going to be a broken record.
That kind of answers my next rapid fire question. What have you learned from us?
Oh,
From your
gosh.
listeners, from the people in your groups, from the people that you've coached individually who maybe you just had for a season? What have you learned from all of us?
I think the one thing that I learned in particular, and this is why I got certified as a life coach, is that we don't always see, and I include myself in this because I was a store owner and I am an entrepreneur, and I do feel like I'm on the same playing field as everyone else. We don't see that mindset is so much of what determines our path. And that was part of the decision in getting certified as a life coach, because I thought, yes, I can teach all of these other things, but if I can't really show you what's happening in your mind, you're not going to make progress. I can teach you every metric, every data point. I can teach you the consulting side of this business. But if I can't help you see what's actually happening in your mind, and I don't do that as a coach, you aren't going to make progress. You're going to be like me when I first started working with my own coach, and I kept saying to myself, I'm stuck. Why am I so stuck? Like, I'm smart, I'm capable, I know I can do some incredible things. Why am I so stuck? And what it was my mind. I was stuck in my mind, and I had to get out of that in order to really start to make progress.
What are you proudest of over these last 8 or so years?
Community comes to mind first. In terms of Savvy Shopkeeper as a whole, I take a lot of pride in that. And I know it isn't just me. We have 150 some group members in there, and you all make it, right? Like you all contribute to that. You all contribute to the magic. I would say that's what, and it's funny because I went to breakfast with my husband this morning, and on our way back, we actually talked about that. And he sees it too. He sees that it's community, and you can look at it like a business coaching program, all the things, but really what it comes down to, it is very, very community driven. And I'm the most proud of that in terms of the business. And in terms of me, I'm the most proud of my willingness to be uncomfortable and to unpack everything up until, I just turned 50 years old, being willing to do that and shed a million tears in order to get to where I'm at. And I'm just going to keep doing it because I know that's what's going to move me forward.
I love that. You have a reputation in the Master Shopkeepers group, Kathy, for for a lot of things.
Oh
They're
boy.
almost all good. I think they're all good. But you have a reputation specifically for keeping a lot of secrets, which is such a ridiculous thing to give you a hard time about because obviously you should not tell us everything that crosses your mind. You might take this business in 100 different ways, and you don't need us influencing that too much. Like you need to figure out your path without us being part of it. So I'm not even faulting you. I'm just pointing out that it is a little bit of a reputation. And so I am curious, do you have any secrets now that it is 2025 that you are ready to share with us?
Good question. And this is where Kate and some other MSK members, their ears perk up. I feel like I need to explain this first. So
Okay.
I find, just like you said, I get a million ideas. And I've learned I get really excited about them, but I kind of have to wait till I get to the other side, right? Like even the perimenopause episode, I mentioned this, that I normally wait to get to the other side because there's so much to unpack while you're going through something or while you're researching something or while you're creating a new offer or have a new idea. You do all of that. And I just think I've learned it's really important for me to pause instead of be impulsive. So, but it's fun to tease those things along the way. I would say in terms of secrets, I am definitely writing books. And that makes me very uncomfortable. So I'm starting with book number 1. I have an idea for 3 books, but who knows? Because I haven't even started that process. And this is where a point where I feel uncomfortable sharing because I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not on the other side. And here I am sharing the secret. So I would say writing books for sure, at least one. And then I have another one, but I'm not sharing that yet. And that other one is pretty big. And again, I just don't know if it's going to happen, but I am unpacking it now. And it would be somewhat of an offshoot from Savvy Shopkeeper.
Okay. I love that because that gives us things to stay tuned for and to wait and see what comes of it. So that's exciting. So we're at the end of our time pretty much. What did you hope that I would ask you about that I didn't think of? What else do you want to tell us about?
Mm, I don't know. I feel like I probably feel more like it's an appropriate time for me to say thank you for everyone that has contributed to this.
The community without people just wouldn't work right, would it?
And that includes my family. That includes, of course, I've mentioned my mom and my husband, for sure, my bonus son. Like, I love that he asks a million questions whenever I talk about my business, and he asks some of the best questions. Brother and sister, for sure, my sister, who really this path started with her. The community members and master shopkeepers, the rest of my family, my nephew who now runs the store with my sister. Like I feel like there have been so many people, my best friends, my besties, and I have so many of them who cheer me on. I have a running joke with one of them that when I hit a particular goal, like we're going to have the swankiest party and everyone's going to get picked up in a fancy car and going to have like the best, fanciest dinner. I just feel like gratitude is really important because even though I've worked on myself and I've done a lot of this on my own, someone asked me yesterday, how did you build all of this? Did you hire someone? I'm like, no, I have my team who I also need to thank, but I've pretty much like built so much of Savvy Shopkeeper on my own. But if I look back, like I can't do this without everyone in my life and their support and them cheering me on. So I would say just a big fat thank you to all of them. So I'm incredibly grateful for them.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking time to thread together some of the things that you've told us over time and then weaving in a lot of new stuff too. It was really, really a lot of fun to hear more about your journey. So thank you.
Thank you. You made me cry 1.5 times. That's kind of surprising. Thank you, Ceri. I really appreciate this. All right, that wraps up my interview. I have listened to the recording of my full interview several times now, probably because it made me so uncomfortable. And I feel compelled to wrap up the two-part interview because it was helpful to hear my own summarized thoughts about this journey of mine. The new year, it's really a beautiful time, like to reflect on the past year. I do it. I know so many entrepreneurs do it. And then to look ahead to the future. So whether your 2024 was hard or amazing or somewhere in between, I genuinely hope that you also learn to enjoy the journey. And 2023 and 2024 weren't necessarily easy for me. I want to mention that 2023 was personally challenging and 2024 was professionally exhausting. It was uncomfortable because I was challenging myself with some things that were taking me outside of my comfort zone. I definitely spent a lot of time in 2024 learning new skills, getting certified as a life coach, and participating in a business program that was asking me to do big things. I was asking myself to do big things. So what does 2025 look like for me? A lot more discomfort because I'm continuing or I'm moving forward with some really big projects. And I promise I will be sharing those all soon. And I just realized that 2025, it's time for me to once again, and this is a perfect way to wrap up this podcast episode, it's time again for me to be savvy and boss up.